In this video, we are going to move over to create our pie chart. I'm going to take my navigator, just kind of show you what we're looking at here. This is the growth results, and there's a pie chart that's going to go right here in this section here. So what do we need for this? I'm going to zoom out, come over here. We are going to actually create the pie chart, and then we're going to put the broccoli right there on the pie chart. But before we do that, let's take a look at what we're going to do here to finish off our bar graph. So I'm going to use my veggies that I wanted to use here. So I'm going to go over here, select this. Let me zoom out, get a larger view here. And from here, I'll select and drag. And if you notice, these are too big. So as I zoom in, what I want to do, I'm using my space bar to move this around. So I move this right here. I'm going to put it right equal with the top bar. And I'm going to go over to my scale tool. So I can press S on the keyboard to get to the scale tool very quickly. And what I want to do is basically, if you scale, this scale is from the center. I want to scale from this right corner. So I put my mouse right up here at that anchor point. It says anchor. I'm going to hold the option key and click once. That's going to bring up my scale tool, and basically it's going to tell this scale tool options to scale from that point. So as I take this 100% and use my down arrow key to move down and click on preview, you'll see that this value scales from that point. And all I have to do is go down to about 66% and everything lines up perfectly. Maybe if I even go down a little bit further, I can go right there. And 65%, everything is perfectly aligned where I need it to be, and I can just press OK. Get my selection tool or my group selection tool. I can move it around, nudge it if I want to, but I think that's great. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to go over to this side. And in here, this is where I'm going to do my pie chart. So I'm going to go over to my layers palette. I'm going to click on my results layer. I'm going to turn on the data guides. There's my guides that show up where I want to make my chart. So I'm going to go to my graph tool. If I click and hold, I can see the pie graph. Click on pie graph, right? And then I can go back up here to object, graph. And then the reason why I'm going through object, graph, and type is because I need to go in here to look at some of these settings before I just create this chart. The one thing that I want to choose in my settings is I want the legend to go across the top. And then I also want to sort the numbers from first biggest to last. Everything else can stay the same. I'll press OK. I need my data. So I'm going to go out to my Excel spreadsheet, get my data. I'm going to drag from the blank cell all the way over. This cell, when you're doing a pie chart, this cell needs to be blank. So I select this information, copy it, Command C or Control C, minimize my information. I'm going to go right here and click from the top left corner all the way to the right, let go, and here it is. This is my pie chart, and click on this data, delete, copy, paste, Command V, and then I'm going to commit to it. There we go. Great looking chart there. Now, the last thing I have to do is format this pie chart by going to my group selection tool, doing the same thing I did with my eyedrop tool. So I'm going to select the black areas by holding Shift, go to my eyedrop tool, go down to my colors. I'm going to choose green because this is going to be for the broccoli, and Go back over to select both these gray sections, hold shift, use my eyedrop tool, and I'm going to use my gray here. Okay. Now, that's pretty good, but I'm going to stylize this just a little bit more. I'm going to go to my shape tool, get my ellipse tool, and I'll zoom in just enough here, and I'm going to look for the center point of this shape. Right in the middle and hold the option key and click just like we did with our scale tool, and I do 4.5 by 4.5. I press OK, and it creates that shape right in the center of that circle. Okay, and I'm going to change the color to white, so I can go over to my properties palette, go to fill, click on that, and then click white. Also, the opacity right now is at 100%. I'm going to change that opacity to 70, type in 70, so I get a little bit of transparency here. And the last thing I'm going to do to stylize this is use my line segment tool to make white lines to make it look like this green has a stopping point and it separates it from the gray. So I'll go up to my shape tool, get my line segment tool. I'm already selected on white, which is great. And all I'm going to do is drag from this point down to the next point, let go back over here to stroke, or you can click here, go to, let's say, 4 points, click on the white to make that a white color. And just to exaggerate a little bit, I'm going to double that size. I'll put it at 8, and I'm going to do the same thing from this side. So I'm going to click and drag until it gets to the point there. Click off to the side, and I can zoom out. Now, before I zoom out, you see the name of this chart is called salinity, but I don't need that here because I already have this text. So I'm going to select that text and just delete. Okay, and then when I zoom out, I have a nice looking pie chart here. And my pie chart, everything's looking good. I'm going to go back over to my layers, and I'm going to hide the data guides layer. There we go.